I think that's the biggest misconception for reality shows is, like, of course we have to plot stuff out. Like, you think the Kardashians just wake up in the morning and they're like, oh, we're just gonna have a camera crew follow us doing nothing today? Like, no.
Casting and production has changed so much in that way. Social media, like TikTok, Instagram, all that. It's like that's where the new stars are coming from. I always like to start with a bang, you know, whether it's just some kind of that you know who that person is right away. Whether it's something and she starts cracking up laughing, or it's just
or like just a drop.
Yes.
Or something that they said. That you're
or
like,
just like, you know, someone's like, a lot of people don't like me and I can care less.
Yeah.
Great, we're starting
like,
with that.
done.
Then we roll into it, you know?
Right.
The paperwork you have to do to get on these shows. Insane.
Have you ever totally lost a cast member before? So the thought behind this, which I explained to you, is to, number one, utilize this amazing set.
Yes.
This set intimidates me because I have a thing about eating.
Yes, so we both have to eat beef and chicken on camera.
Yeah, well, you don't have to, but I'm going to do it.
Listen, we're all in here.
Because I'm like, okay. And then also being shot from the side, I have an issue with. So I'm like, I'm going to do the two things I'm most scared of.
Okay.
But the theory behind it was like, let's have lunch and dish on the industry. Why are we dishing on the industry? Tell everybody who you are, Kate.
Well, you know, if you don't know by now, you've already invited me to dinner, but, you know, I'll go ahead and backtrack a little. So I am a casting director for television primarily, but I own a company called Mac Worldwide, Inc., and we are worldwide because I'm global, because I shot a show and I beat the one's cool for now.
Okay.
Thanks. But yeah, so I cast TV shows. I develop a lot of TV shows for networks. I do primarily unscripted stuff, but I cast hosts. I cast, you know, kids for stuff. It all depends what comes through the office and kind of what condition the whole industry is in. You know, what they're looking for. But you know, I've done a lot of TV that is ruining the children of America.
Give me an example. What's ruining our children?
Well, you know, like the Temptation Islands of the world. Some would say the Real Housewives.
People love that stuff, though.
I know.
Honestly, I feel like it's actually more popular than scripted.
I mean,
reality has become huge.
It is. I mean, number one, it's a lot cheaper for networks, right? Because you're not paying $1 million per cast member per episode. Why did we get on this end of the business? But
I know, right? Exactly.
But yeah, but it is. It's easy to watch. You know, it's oftentimes an escape for people.
It's brainless.
It's brainless, and you feel like, oh, my life isn't that bad. Look what they're doing. You know, so that's all good. But it's also really fun, and casting it, I really like because you're really casting people as they are, you know, for the most part. You know, they're not, well, sometimes it does happen, and we can get into that, about people think that you want them to be the villain or whatever, you know, and they come in and I'm like, listen, I've been doing this a long time. You can see through that in a hot taco.
Right, but you know you do cast for niches, right? Like hot girl, dumb girl, gay man, villain, right?
And the prom queen, yes. So oftentimes actually...
So like that's not real, it's just...
In that characterization, let's say, it has to be real.
Correct.
You know, that person really has to be
authentically. And they may not, though, and this is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
They may not know that they are that person.
Well, that's when it's the best. You know?
That is when it's the best. But then they all say, well, in the edits, you made me look. No.
Exactly. Listen, if I would...
We didn't make you do anything.
Right. And
like,
I wouldn't
cast... You were happily being yourself.
Well, that's always happens when the mics are on, people forget. You know, like Big Brother is one where, you know, they're mic'd 2-4-7, you know, for 3 months. And it's amazing how quickly they forget the mics are on and people become who they are. You can't help it. Because that's who you are.
And that is also a testament to the producers, because when you're in those testimonial rooms or like you're in interview rooms, the producers get to know these characters, as do the characters get to know the producers.
Yep.
We're not dumb.
Yeah.
We are getting to know you and befriending you, and we will use it against you.
That's
right. So
you know?
You think you're having an interview. You know the cameras are rolling. You know they are rolling.
Yeah.
We are having a conversation, and you may say something to me that I'm like,
yes, that's the bite. That's the sound bite. But you know, usually,
but like, I'm not going to react that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend I'm really interested in what you're saying. I'm like, oh, I really feel that.
It's weird because as a casting director, you have to sort of like have the ability to put yourself in that person's world, right? Like I did Life Below Zero on Nat Geo, right?
Oh my God,
Which
we love that
do
show.
you? Oh
Don't
my
you
gosh.
watch that? Yeah,
You
he
guys
does.
know that
Oh, you have
show?
to see the list of stuff she's done.
Really? You like
He
Sue?
loves
She's like
that.
outstanding.
Oh, we love Sue.
But that is a total opposite side of the spectrum
Totally
from the
different.
Housewives, right? So it's
Completely
like, how
different.
do you find out who all these people are? So you had to kind of put yourselves in their world. And like for a Housewives, you know, I'll see like an engagement ring or something, you know, and you're just like,
Yes.
oh, don't think that ring got past me, you know, and I get into that space of
Yes.
because you want to make them comfortable, right? To be real with you and be like, oh, this is nothing. I wanted a bigger one or whatever, you know, the stuff that isn't like
Yes.
predictable, like really have the conversation about who the people really are. And those are the people who don't mind what they sound like on TV, you know, and that's the perfect marriage.
Yes,
You know?
because they know that they have a bigger view of what's next. Does that make sense? That they're not just stuck in that niche.
Yeah.
That, okay, great. Well, everyone thinks that, like Bethany Frankel.
Yeah.
Let's use her as an example. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
she wasn't like, oh no, people fucking think I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
She was like, yes, and let's capitalize
She's like,
it.
I'm
Let's
a
grow
bitch and deal with
community,
it.
And I'm going to actually have things to sell to you.
That's exactly right.
And
now
I was like, yes, own that. Because not everybody's going to like you anyway.
Right.
And we can't help how we're perceived. Yes, is the magic in the edits. I tell everybody that. Yes, as the storyboard artists / producers, because we have to have a story.
right.
I don't think people understand that in reality
And each
TV.
character
There
has
to
a
be
story
and a
in
story
that
arc.
series. Yeah, where are they starting?
Correct.
What are they going to do, you know? Oftentimes we use that in casting too. Like, what do you have going on in the next, you know, year or whatever? You know, oh, I have a wedding. Oh, my daughter's graduating from something, or da-da-da. And we literally build their story arc based on that. Like, we plug them into the calendar, right? So then you have all the characters and you see like where we have our tentpole events, right? And then what happens in between
Correct.
is what happens as a fallout or as a preparation for, you know, and that sort of stuff. That's kind of how you build, you know, the
storyline.
That's
really.
right. Yeah.
Or the timeline. Well, all right, let's take a bite. This is like literally my worst
go first.
nightmare.
I'll go first.
We're gonna just do the thing.
And
I know
hopefully getting
people
a
like
close-up of
eating
your
on
mouth.
camera, and people hate eating
Who
on
likes
camera.
it?
People who like ASMR and like mukbanging.
Okay, I don't
Have
know
you ever
what
heard
either
about
of those things
that?
are.
Here's another one if you need it.
Why?
You
Do
need
I
another
have sour cream on it?
Mukbanging is when people get like a huge meal and they literally just eat the crap out of it.
Oh my God, there's like on YouTube, people just eating tons of food. And people watch it.
But like my daughter has, I can't remember the name of it.
It was really good, by the way.
It bothers her. Taco Vita. Clarkson.
Thank you, Taco
Amazing.
Vita. Woo, woo. We should have, do we have water somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Babe, can you get us water, please?
Some of them are just crazy by nature, and that's always the best when you can find that because they just are totally no filter, really don't care what they're saying, what it looks like.
For editing them into.
And then sometimes on shows, you know, people will start to become more dramatic because they want to be relevant.
Well, because they see the producers calling in certain people over and over again, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yep,
Right? Because
yep.
it's like, oh, I'm not giving them what they need.
And oh my gosh, am I going to be around next season? Or am I going to
Nope.
be, you know, it's like, what do I have to bring to the
Probably
table,
not.
you know?
Thank you, honey. I think
Is it okay if it says Diet Coke?
I mean, we're not sponsored, but I don't know. Like it work here. Put it this way.
Yeah. I'll cover it with my St. Patrick's Day green nail polish.
Oh my God, let me sing about that. Oh, you're so cute.
Oh,
I got
look, we look like
chrome.
totally St.
Gold
Patrick's Day
chrome.
together.
Oh, it does. It's so
With
cute.
the gold.
I love
Nice.
that. I think that's the biggest misconception for reality shows is, like, of course we have to plot stuff out. Like, you think the Kardashians just wake up in the morning and they're like, oh, we're just going to have a camera crew follow us doing nothing
Right.
today? Like, no, it's plotted out. What happens is real, generally. Now, can producers throw in, like, a surprise for everybody? Sure, because we need something to react. And I only think they do that a lot of times when the storyline is dying. Like, we were watching something, I don't remember which show it was. Do you remember which show it was? Where you could tell it was just like things weren't happening. I don't know if it was like a Naked and Afraid or something, but it was just like you could tell that they were like, there's nothing else for them to do, right? Like if everyone's getting along, it's like boring.
Yes. It's
You know what I mean? Like we're
Like,
it's like
a lot of
okay,
times
great.
say if there was a party last
I
night,
know.
right? But you're totally right. And then maybe the next day there's a lunch, and the producer might say something like, "Okay, so talk about what so and so said," da 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 da, and then they let them roll with it. You know, so
Right.
it's not. It really isn't scripted, but of course the story beats are there. You know, but what is
Correct.
said how it comes out, how it comes across, how everyone's going to react, you really don't know,
100%.
Yeah.
And then I always tell everybody when they're going into, because I have a couple of friends that are like, oh, I'm auditioning for this reality show.
Which, by the way, we do a lot of Michigan casting. We
Well,
can talk about
there's
that anytime.
one right now. Do you know what's happening
No, what's
here?
happening?
Love is Blind. I know you're not casting for it.
No way, but they are
Love is Blind
casting.
is casting here. Yeah.
But I mean, are they having like an open call or something? Mm-hmm. What?
It's on the website. By the time this airs, it will probably be done.
I
But
wonder
yes.
who's doing it, because I'm sure I know them. It's a very small world what I do.
Do
Like
they
we all
usually
know each other. I've
do
worked
they
with
post
each other.
who's casting though? Because don't you guys not
I can
want
find
people
out.
to contact them?
No, it's easy to find out.
Okay, let's go to the website. Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Because I do know, like, my daughter, I took her to LA for a few months when she was 9. So COVID hit, and I thought this would be a great time to leave my job and take my daughter to LA. Meanwhile, everything was shut down, and it was like with
That's when everyone was
casting,
leaving.
yes, and we had an offer from an agent who basically said you have to move here because, especially with COVID, it's 2 weeks out before you can get cast in anything because testing and being isolated.
Yeah.
So number one, you have to be here, especially
Were
with
you
kids
living in
stuff.
like Oakwood, like where a lot of the,
No, we were. I don't remember the.
you know what I'm talking about though, like where a lot of when there used to be
No,
pilot
is
season,
there
which
actually?
is-
Like, yes. Well, there's no pilot season anymore.
No,
That's what I was like.
so
Oh,
much
I
has
just want to
changed.
be out here for pilot season. And people are
Yeah.
like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. I was like. So no, we lived literally in a trailer, an RV in my husband's cousin's driveway.
Amazing.
It was during
This is
December.
such a start to an
It was
incredible
amazing,
story.
right? I know. I can't wait to write the fucking thing because I'm like, you're right. It's not going to be in their driveway. We are literally going to be in an RV park, but I can't wait. Because can you imagine the characters like in an RV park? With
I've
me
wanted
and
to
my
do like the
daughter,
Real
literally from,
Housewives of like the RV park,
why are we not doing that? Like, no offense to the Real Housewives with money.
Yeah.
But there's something so relatable about the Real Housewives of the RV park that it's just like, oh my God, this is gold.
Because it's the same thing. It's just on a different level. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's the same kind of dynamics. It's the same kind of drama. It's the same kind of gossip.
Correct.
It's the same kind of like you could be the queen of the trailer park. You have the best trailer. Your RV like kills everybody.
100%.
So it's
Oh my God,
yeah.
we
I've
need to
pitched
pitch
that
that idea.
before.
You
Yeah,
have?
but you should see my pitch board because a lot of times it's like, I've gotten to next level with a lot of shows and different ideas like HGTV. I was at tier 2 with this really great girl. She's a model from Philadelphia, and she rehabs row homes with her Italian husband, and they're awesome. And she bought her home there with, I don't mean row home, I mean like brownstone, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But she built her own home because she was a single mom, and she had no choice. So that's kind of how she
Right.
learned how to
She's
do
like,
it. So
I
her
have to do the
backstory is really cool. They're really, really good. But that got almost to air, on HGTV, and I can give you several different examples of shows like that they just don't make it. But so my
Yes.
point is, you have your development board, right? It's like if you love it, I always keep it on the board, because
Manifest that.
totally. And like you never know how things are going to change, how society's going to change, how what the network's needs are and all that kind of stuff. So you can definitely bring it back around again. So that is one of those ideas of
Well,
mine
you can
that
bring
is
it
on
back
the bed.
around again.
Let's do it.
And this is where I see it going, honestly, people are going to independently start funding their own stuff. Because just because Hulu and Netflix or HGTV or a network is not picking it up doesn't mean you can't do the thing and actually be really successful at doing it. In fact, I think those are better because you don't have a corporation and a
Yep.
board of people saying, well, this sold and that sold and let's copy this because it's doing well. Why are we not doing that? It's like, no, it comes from such a pure place of like, I just have to create to create. We're actually doing that right now with something where I'm just going to put my own money into it. I'm not even going to attempt to
do
sell
that,
it because
and
I don't want people to change what the vision is. Because that's the other thing is like you sell one thing and they're like, okay, that's okay, but we're going to buy this instead.
Yes.
And it's like,
yes. And all of a sudden it's like, where did my project go?
right, that's not my project.
Yeah.
And I understand in the realm of entertainment, we all have to sort of give stuff up sometimes, especially like if you sold a script and you're like, that is not the movie I wrote, or like that's not the book that was supposed to be happening. I get that.
Yeah.
But also as a creator and an artist, it's really hard to like give that thing that you wanted
It's
to do so badly
gut-wrenching.
up.
Yes.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And so where's
in-
that balance?
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Are you doing it on YouTube, by the way? Or what?
Yes. Yep.
Is
Yeah.
that your, so
Yeah.
a lot of people are doing that, and you get enough views and stuff like that, then casting and production has changed so much in that way. Social media, like TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, all that. It's like that's where the new stars are coming from,
Correct.
and it's all kind of homegrown stuff.
And you also know you could have the best of intentions, to make something that like, oh, we feel like this is going to be so successful as a network. And then it just doesn't resonate with people, right? So I truly feel like if we're creating and it comes from that place of like true creation and being our authentic selves, right? You automatically will attract that audience. So I feel like if it's coming from a place of, you know, will it do well, and how much money can we make, and like how much can we, you know, charge for sponsorship and ad dollars, because that's where money comes from. I don't know if people understand that in the entertainment business. They make money from ad dollars. And so if a show's not doing well, 'cause I'm telling the camera right now, so if a show is not doing well, right, that means nobody's watching. If nobody's watching, they can't charge a lot for ad dollars.
Can't charge a lot for ad dollars. You can't afford the crew. You can't afford the locations. You can't afford the talent. You can't, you know. Yeah, it goes right down the line.
Right.
Yeah, so I just think that, you know, when you're creating your own stuff, the one thing I hate to see, though, is when people spend a lot of their own money, even to, like, if I find talent and I sign talent, that's kind of how my work goes. Like, I see somebody in, like, a really crazy world. By the way, I'm trying to crack the nut in the UP, and it's hard. I've done everything from, like, restaurant wars, ice fishing stuff, family business. Like, you know, I'm still looking up there.
Yes.
So I really.
Well, you're casting something for off the grid families too. I want to talk about what you are casting right now, but finish this thought.
Yeah. I forget what thought was about going. Oh, making it authentic, right? Was that what I was saying? Yeah. About spending your own money and then da-da-da, right? Because if I have talent and they're like, oh, well, I'll shoot this and that. I'm like, okay, but you don't have to put together a whole sizzle reel. You don't have it edited and stuff like that. If I find great talent, I can do like a Zoom, edit it down. Oh, partly because I've been doing this for so long. So I have relationships with the production companies and with some of the networks that I can just like be like, put eyes on this. Like, is this something I should, you know, go forward with or not? Talent hasn't spent a dime, you know? You're always going to want tape on people, though. You know, you're always going to want to have a clear idea of like who rounds out their world or what's their day-to-day like, you know, and that sort of thing. In the way that I pitch. So I think that producing your own show is great because it's your vision, you know, and it's polished how you like it, and that, you know, so it's I think it's two different games, because I think in one we're just trying to pitch the talent in their world, and yours because they're not creators, they're talent. That's the difference.
Correct.
When you're a creator, you want to be doing the whole nine to get visibility on your passion and your idea.
I feel like if they can vlog some of their day, which is like just self-tape some stuff,
Which is
just
great.
to give you an idea of what you're like outside of this interview format, right? Like as a person talking to a camera.
Yeah.
I do think that helps. Does that make sense?
100%.
Because
In
it also
COVID, we were
helps
doing
you.
so much stuff like that.
Because
That
you
was
may be
funny.
a great interviewer, but then like here we put a camera on you and you the
It's
bed,
like,
and that has happened to me so many fucking times. Or I interview somebody in the afternoon, because especially in radio, I would like pre-interview somebody in the afternoon and be great, fabulous. Like, we're going to do morning radio, awesome, and you're amazing, you're energetic. And then at 6 a.m., they are not the same person I talked to
like,
at
knock,
2
knock.
p.m.
Where'd that
And
person
literally,
go?
I like, this is my face with my, like, oh, and then everybody in the room is like, oh, like,
And you're
what
on the
f-
air.
you f***ed
And
us.
you're on
and
the
it's
air.
like, I didn't you. I swear to God, like, my gut reaction
You should have
at 2
heard them
o'clock was
12 hours
great. You
ago.
should have 12, exactly. I was like, they were so good before. And that, like, oh my God, that's so crazy, because you are the one responsible for it, right? They're going to be like, Kate told us they were great. What the fuck was she
Why did we just waste our
thinking?
time? You know, that's something, though, too, that, like, with a lot of TikTok or social media famous people,
Yeah.
you put them in a different surrounding that's not
Different
them
context,
shooting them.
right? Yes.
And it's like unfamiliar, and
Yes.
they can't make that pivot, you know? It's like, wait, I don't know what to do under these lights or with that person there, or, you know,
Right.
da-da-da.
Right.
And they are totally different. And that's a bummer to discover, because
It is a
it's
bummer,
like, why
because
can't they
you're
just
like,
be the
oh,
same?
shit, they were so good. Well, that also, I want to ask you about, like, how much does gut instinct play into this?
In terms of who's going to be good on a show and not, I mean, a lot. And, you know, you can see through the people that, I just bring it back for a second about the, you know, oh, I'm going to go on that show because I'm going to be like the bad guy. I'm going to be the villain, or I'm going to be the one everyone loves to hate, or whatever. And it's like, I can tell they're not that, you know?
Well, but you can also tell when you're having a conversation that they're leading you in that way, and it's
Totally.
like, don't cast yourself.
Yes.
I'm the casting director. You're not the casting
And when they
director.
tell a story, you can totally tell if it really happened to them, because they have details, you know, uncovered by details and da da da. And it's not like they're just memorizing something or making a story theirs that they read someplace. You know.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's pretty easy to tell that. At this point, I don't get fooled. You know,
Well, I think
knock on.
you're a
aluminum.
little empathic too, right? Where you're just like, in your head, you're just like, well,
Yeah, and then as an interviewer too, you kind of know the questions to ask them, really, and then like your follow up. It's like you're gonna catch them in the web, you know.
Oh, didn't you say?
Yeah, but
and you do more than one interview, especially if they're going to the next level.
Yeah. Yes.
So and then I would take copious notes because it's like, oh wait, but didn't you say this? Like why?
Yeah, and the further someone gets along in casting too, because after me. I'll send in tapes and, what we call a one sheet with like their picture, all their bullets, just kind of a thing. Gotta love a one sheet. I am meticulous on the one sheet, like meticulous.
It's
the
so
font,
hard for me to
everything.
fit stuff on one sheet though sometimes. I'm too verbose and I'm like, no one's gonna read all this
Here's the trick to cheat. So you're gonna include photos. That way you have to do it on like photos of the house or
Oh my God, so they allow you to do the two and stuff?
Yeah.
I love that. Okay,
Because if you make the photos too small, it just doesn't look good on the page. I mean,
no, it looks terrible.
Yes.
And then like that's their first presentation when you're showing it people because FYI, everybody. So she then narrows down, right? And you normally narrow down, not to the final cast. You're narrowing down to like, here are our options for these roles, right?
Yeah.
And even in reality, we have roles. So you have people literally sitting. Usually, do they order lunch? We're gonna have a lunch meeting, everybody. Let's go. And it's a huge meeting table.
Let me talk about the.
Tell me what happens. Like, so we're on phase 2 now. Oh my God, I'm on phase 2. What does that really mean? So let people understand what is actually happening in that casting room.
Definitely. So depending on the show,
do you want to take another bite really quickly?
You take one because I'm ahead of you. Oh, is that your second one?
Well, yeah, because I'm
such a girl that doesn't like to eat on TV.
No, it's really making me so uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm talking to you, so it's okay.
Everyone's looking at me now, so take a bite.
Thank God, I control the edits. We're just going to keep the camera on her the whole fucking time.
I'll just do a couple.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But yeah, so what will happen is we'll get a casting call out, right? And we.
Wait, I'm laughing.
Oh my gosh! Go ahead, laugh, spit. It's coming out your nose.
Explain to them why you said that, though.
What part?
So her saying, "I'm just going to do a lot of this."
Oh yeah.
Means pickup shots.
Yes.
It's pickup shots.
See, I didn't even think that was so subconscious. I'm like, what did I do? What? Yes.
So basically, if we're doing something that I don't like what she's doing, or while I'm doing something,
like,
you have
cheers.
right. So what's happening is you kind of take B-roll of people going, yeah.
Do you know what? Oh yeah, the laugh.
Yes. And so you'll see. I know when I see them when they're intercut because a lot of times
you can tell. It's just
you can tell,
yeah.
and a lot of times these reality shows, it's like they're not gonna have 3 camera crews. It's gonna be one camera guy that has to then be like, okay, fucking what? All right, just do this for me. You can tell that's what they're having them do.
Someone told me once a good note for that. If you ever have to like talk when you're not talking, like silently say watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. I guess that
really
makes a lot of mouth moves that you watermelon.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I just do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but I don't feel like that doesn't move enough like watermelon.
A, B, C, D. Yeah, because C, D, E
right,
is all one.
C,
D, E. If you go watermelon.
Right. Oh my God, I love that. And now I'm gonna stare every time to see who is doing that.
Watermelon, watermelon, watermelon.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Isn't that funny?
Oh my God.
Anyway,
okay.
I digress. So yes, so
pickup shot
we have so we have a casting call for whatever it is, right? By the way, one of my really good friends is casting The Golden Bachelor. Did you watch that?
No. See, hold on.
Not to totally change the subject.
No,
but
we sort of had to go to a space where we had to be creators and not consumers anymore. Because we have so much that we're doing, like literally on our own and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't waste time watching anymore. I have to spend all this time creating. And it's almost like an artist with a painting and you're just like, I have to fucking do the thing.
I totally get it. I mean, there's so much out there now. I can't even remember what shows I want to watch on what streamers or whatever. I literally cannot keep track. And by the time I find it, I'm like so over it. I'm like,
That and then tell me why. I talk in ADHD.
I do too. That's just why
we'll get back to the other thing. So we're gonna pause that because I'm not gonna edit.
We're gonna get back to the casting room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me why we are not shoving the whole season out anymore. Why can't we? Why are we going back to the old school way of once a week?
I know.
What? Why?
I
think I know why, but why?
Because they want to build the audience. There's a show on right now that Bravo's doing called The Valley, and it's a offshoot of Vanderpump Rules, which is a hugely successful.
So it's some of the characters from there that now have
and then they added some more, and it just premiered Tuesday, this past Tuesday. episode 1, and I was like, where's episode 2? And I'm looking on Peacock, the streamer. I'm looking on Bravo.
That's how we watch now.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to come back to it. And
So-
I will forget you.
Yeah, exactly. You will, because other stuff is going to just take its place. There's
Right.
too much there. But I think the strategy, and I'm not a programming person and I'm not a network exec, but I think it's because they want to build more audience. They want like the anticipation higher. They want those second week numbers higher than the premiere.
Is that happening for them though?
I don't know,
wonder?
so they've only done 1 episode.
I'm
But
curious.
it's frustrating as a
It's
viewer
frustrating.
because
I won't
now
watch them now unless I know it's a full season. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to come back
that's
to it.
smart.
I'm going to forget.
Love
So
is
we
Blind.
have
Are you watching Love is Blind?
conversations. I'm not getting
I
into it. I know
never
everybody
watched
is
Love is
obsessed with it.
Blind,
They love it.
but I started watching it like 3 weeks ago, and I finished. I'm like, but I had it on like in my house all over the place. If I'm folding laundry or I'm on
That's what I do.
so it's in the background all the time, So I just binged that, which is pretty. Talk about a crazy show to pitch and get sold. What are the odds?
They were smart. They like went with their gut. Like
Yeah.
we think this is going to work, and you know this too with reality shows because it's so low barrier of entry for cost. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. We scrap it. It's a tax write-off.
But it is
didn't work
harder
out.
now, though, with COVID and all that stuff. It's hard to sell anything right now. It's tough out there for a pimp.
Well, that's what when we were in LA, the agent for my daughter basically said it's a job. So I know she's 9, and it's hard to explain that, but it's not a hobby. So if I'm going to send you on casting calls every day, you're going on the casting calls. And what ended up happening was all those C actors got bumped down even to D actors because the A actors weren't getting enough work. Right? So the A actors were taking the B and the C jobs. So your C actors are now D and E and F. So like that tier of people that you always had in your back pocket that you're like, oh, this one will show up.
Yep.
Had to go to these higher end actors
Wow.
because they weren't getting enough jobs.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough going on. And so it was like this weird thing that like this trickle down that happened. I feel like we're on our way back up and like the lower end actor, I hate saying lower end because they're not lower end.
Yeah.
But they're not mainstream actors. I feel like everyone's getting more work again.
Well, the
But I don't
slogan
think
that
enough-
everyone's saying is like, stay alive till 25. It's like, if we can get through this
Yes.
year.
Because
then
we have to make up the loss. We lost millions of dollars in everything, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't just brick and mortar businesses. The entertainment business lost money too.
Tons. I mean, there are people that I know that have been in my industry on either casting or production, they've been doing this for 25 plus years. And they're like not working right now. A lot of times the resurgence starts with casting, which is good because they cast,
we love
before people
that.
can go into production. So
Yes.
that's one, good tick on my box in terms of work, but it's the whole industry is taking like a huge nosedive. It's hard. It really, really is to get.
Well, and the AI thing didn't help.
Oh my gosh. Have you used it?
I have, and I hate saying how great it is. And from a business perspective, yes, as a media company, I would make you sign a contract that says I can use you in any way that I want to after this. And if you're an actor who needs the work, you're going to sign that contract.
Yeah. I know I've tested it out too, just like doing a bio or whatever. I mean, I'm
Fucking
like,
incredible.
like,
Well,
how?
and they can literally just recreate your AI. It gets to know your voice, and then I just have to type a script, and my AI is doing the thing.
it's so
Do you know
weird.
what I
There's
mean?
a lot
So
I
it's
don't
like-
understand about it still.
I feel like it's glitchy still.
Yeah.
So it's not, and it doesn't have that frequency of human to human.
Yeah.
So I truly hope.
I know, I'm
just as
trying
a
to find like something that we can
creator,
say it sucks because.
Just the frequency of it, you can tell is not human. And also just, there is enough work. Do you know what I mean? We don't have to go there.
I know.
Like, let's just
I know,
not
and it's
go
going to
there
put
yet.
so many people out. And I like to
It's
write.
gonna be
I am a pretty good
horrifying.
writer, so I love to write. And I write like I speak, so I don't
So do
just
I.
like the end. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And here's
And
every
then-
single
and
detail
then
you
I
ever
go
want to
back
know.
to this.
Yeah, yes, And I'm like, that's my jam, So I'm like, oh boy, now, but like with the one sheets and stuff, a lot of people are using this, they're knocking them out and, with using AI too.
Well, because it's amazing. It really
And even
is
like
helpful.
the Zooms and stuff, I used to have someone that sat there and typed out everything
Nope,
with time
transcribe
codes and
that
blah, 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 go through star the good ones, highlight the great ones.
Yes.
It's like 3 seconds. We have it all like,
It's
it's not
amazing.
perfect, but it gets you the gist for an editor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah.
So the one sheet brings us back to, I see how we
What
love how we
happens in
talk
the
in
room.
concentric ADHD circles.
Yes.
So we're on tier 2 now.
Yes. So
Kate has her group of options, do you lead them into like, I really like this person, or do you let it sit? Because it literally is a giant table, and
like
all
to
those one sheets
not-
are on that table, right? With maybe headshots or whatever else you think they need.
Yeah, and it totally depends. I like to keep my favorites close to the sleeve, you know,
Okay, because you don't want to.
I just don't
energetically throw that out there.
Yes, because they might go the opposite way, just because everyone wants their, you know,
Yeah, everyone
dick
has
in the
their
game,
favorite,
you know, whatever.
yeah.
But if it's like, who are your favorites? I always know
Oh, yeah.
if I'm gonna get a question,
100% you
this, that, and that,
know.
because dot, dot, and dot. You know, but if we need a cast of, let's say, 10 people, I just as a general guide, I deliver 3 times what they want. Keep in mind too. Sorry, did I just burp on my microphone?
I've been burping.
You have?
Yeah.
It happens.
It'll be fun to edit later.
Yeah. But I will like give 3 times as many as if they want. Families are hard because there's so many people in families. They're hard to interview.
The dynamic's insane. You're literally casting for, what is it called? The largest family or something?
Oh God, I was
What is it
I was
called?
doing
It's on your website.
Yeah, it was family. I'm not
Hold
casting
on,
it
let me
anymore,
see.
but families with like 14 kids, you know, that live like on the range or you know that sort of stuff. I mean, you think of it, I've cast it, okay? There's very little I haven't found out there. Good Lord. But yes, so I will go in with, you know, I'll usually do my first pitch of, well, everyone will come in, and then me and my team, you know, that I work with, you know, we'll narrow it down to X amount. Then we'll send over, God, a lot of these things we have in their pitch calendar scheduled. Sometimes we have 5 pitches over the course of a month. It just depends what we're looking for, how many people, how big the cast is. But regardless, second thing is, yeah, we'll go through each person. I'll say, this is Mary, you know, she is blah, 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 some unique characteristic, where she's from, she's married to da. She's like a baller, whatever she is, you know, and it's like she's super emotional, she's just a cancer survivor, you know, just kind of give them the
bullet
backstory.
points,
Yep.
basically.
And then boom, then they watch Mary, you know. And what I put in those reels is I always like to start with a bang, you know, whether it's just some kind of that you know who that person is right away. Whether it's something and she starts cracking up laughing, or it's just
Or
like
just a drop. Or something
yes,
that they said that you're
or
like,
just like
yep.
you know, someone's like, a lot of people don't like me, and I could care less.
Yep.
Great, we're
You're
starting
like,
with that.
done.
Then we roll into it, you know.
Right, time code that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that.
And then they'll narrow it down. They'll say, okay, of these, you know, 15, let's go with these 10. We need 6 for series, but let's, for instance, fly these 10 in for finals. So then it's out of my hands, right? I mean, we arrange everyone's got to go through
Flights, all the
background.
things,
Everyone's got to
yeah.
go, like, depending on the show, too, you got to go through medical testing, psych testing. There's a lot of stuff, like especially if it's a show where you're going to be living in a house with other people, like America's Next Top Model, or you have Big Brother, or everybody has to be screened because you don't want to put, you know, a killer in the house, right?
That, and here's my other fear is you put so much time and effort into this, and then you're on the next level, which is contract level.
Yep.
When they see those contracts sometimes, they're like, wait, what? These contracts are like this big.
But I'll tell you,
If you
before they
print them
even
out,
get
Huge.
I
is there a
cover it
pre-contract contract?
to even apply to the show.
Okay,
You know,
so you're like,
it says
this-
things like, you know, are you over 18? Are you a, you know, citizen? And da, da, da. But then I also put in there, nothing's hidden. It's all very, you know, open to, you know, people know what they're signing, but it's a lot. And that's just like they're already doing their NDA in that whole thing. So I put as much as I can in there without overwhelming people. But that's like level 1. And I'm always really honest with people. Like the paperwork you have to do to get on these shows.
Is insane.
Insane. And basically these contracts, I mean, they're chinging now. Like, you know, a lot of people
hair
are.
on that side.
Oh,
so
thank you.
it's not
On the
touching
mic. Thank you.
Are we okay with that audio?
Take
Without-
11. But the contracts are like basically, I always just say, like basically saying you can die and it's not their fault. Like, you know.
You can die and it's not their fault. And yes, we own everything, every second of every clip you did in the show that I can even repackage it if I want to and not pay you to do it.
Yeah. So
Right?
I'm
So it's
really
like-
upfront because you never want to lose talent at the end, you know? And
God,
sometimes
that would be the scariest
It
shit. I would
is.
probably die and want to throw up.
100%.
Like,
Because you never
is it
want to
signed?
put
Is it
someone
signed? Is
in
it
front,
signed?
yes, of a network, and then they're like, oh, they don't want to do it anymore. Like, then I
like,
screwed
wait,
up.
that's right,
So
that's
I
on
have to make
you.
sure my is buttoned up tight before I go to a network because, oh, well, they weren't really, you didn't say they weren't sure if they wanted to do it. Like, that'll never happen to me. Like, you know?
Because they didn't tell me that at the time
Right.
until somebody put a fucking thought into
Yeah.
their head and they showed somebody
Uh-huh.
or talked to somebody, right? Because that's the thing. These this process is long. It's not like day 1, day 2, day 3.
Right.
They go back out into the wild and they tell people, oh, I auditioning for da 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 da. Like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't tell people anything.
I know.
Because they will
Yeah.
always put negative thoughts into your head and deter you from doing the thing, right?
And the people that are like a pain in the ass at that point, you just know are going to be nightmare contestants or cast members. Sometimes they make the best ones, though.
But that's
you know?
the thing where you're like, I just have to get
Yeah.
to the finish line. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
That's how I would be in
like
TV.
that song.
When I worked at The View, that's how you are when you have, like, especially like a real person coming in that's had controversy and you're just like, oh my God, please get on the plane. Oh my God, please car service.
Oh my gosh,
pick them
I've had
up.
people, like, what show was it? I was just, like, maybe a year and a half ago, and this kid woke up and he's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, what do you mean? You mean you don't want to do it? Like, I couldn't even, I'm like, what? Like, he goes, well, I just don't know. And I said, what do you need to get? He goes, well, I need a haircut. I said, I will get your haircut. And, you know, I haven't had breakfast, so I literally, you know how to do this, because you've done this a billion.
Yes.
I need a car to go to XYZ's house. Drive him to the barber. It's his friend's barbershop, blah, blah, blah. Go to McDonald's, get him breakfast, get him to set. And this is like 4 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? It's 24/7 when you are in production, you know?
24/7.
And when things happen like that, it's like, what? And like you just got to scramble.
But
like,
how can I solve the problem?
Yeah,
Because if it's not like, oh, I'm having second thoughts, if it's really these things that I can fix, okay.
Yeah, but he was like, yeah,
Especially in LA, you can get a car service 24 hours a day, and they are not used, like, they know these calls come in all the time.
But I think too, it's manipulation
like,
part of the
me.
time on cast too, you know, because they just want.
Hard to get.
I just don't. I don't know if I feel like going.
And they just want to make sure
And
you
I'm like,
really do.
I'm going to murder you over the phone. Yeah. So
I'm going to murder you over the phone. Yes, but we have to. We keep our composure. Okay.
But you do.
What is it
but
that
on
I
the
can do to
inside,
help?
literally, I'm
dying on
throwing
the
up inside.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm thinking like, how am I going to make this call to like?
I have a million thoughts going on at once.
And be like, this is not happening.
How can I save this? How can I save this? How can I save
First
this?
thing,
Okay,
save
so
it,
this
save
is
it,
done.
save it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so it's a constant that when you get on set, you know.
Have you ever totally lost a cast member before?
I don't think anyone's ever left, like, you know, thrown off the mic and left. I've had, like, I did Temptation Island, right?
Oh
that was like
God.
one of the.
How did you do that?
First of all, it was the best show and the worst. I mean, it was. I remember when we wrapped, like when I wrapped, we were staying. I forget. We were in Puerto Rico somewhere. We were all staying in these little houses in this village thingy, and I remember I was on the golf cart after I had wrapped. You know, I had my headset around my neck, and I was just driving. Like you can't. There's no crying in baseball, right?
No shit.
And I remember
Suck it up, big girl
I
pants.
got into the shower, and I just was like, like collapsed on the shower floor, and I was just like bawling. You know, it was just so much for so many days in a row, and talent can be so difficult
Well, especially
sometimes.
for that. Because Temptation Island is like, yep, we want you, you're a man whore and a slut. Like,
Yep.
embrace that and be okay with your sexuality. Yes, that's
and
what
it
we're
wasn't
promoting.
even so much about that. We need, you know, how we needed them to perform, you know, for the
Right.
format of the show.
Right.
It was just about, I need more time to dry my hair. Or, you know,
Kidding me. Like, we need to be on fucking set now.
Or people just
stop.
totally disrespecting production, and like you have, there's such a fine line between being their friend and being producers, you know.
That's the hardest part.
And gaining trust with them is paramount,
Because
you know. And then,
the mental game for us is we are going to gain trust and pretend that we are their friends. That is step one, period, every time. Because I need you to get on the plane.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do it for you, you're going to do it for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I need you to show up. I need you to be on time.
Exactly.
And if it's not for yourself, it's because we're friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but
And,
I'll
like,
tell you,
do we make
sometimes
friends? Yes.
I really
know we
am
make
friends
yes.
though with them. Like I do get, it depends what it is. Sometimes I get really tight with them, and it is real. So even when it is real,
That's when it's worse.
it's worse. Because then
it's
I have to be a
worse,
bitch, or I
because
have
you
to be the bad guy,
or
yeah.
they're overstepping. With
Yes,
you,
and it's
where
like, listen,
I
yes.
know we're friends, but I am also in charge.
And
of
you
this.
cannot be that. Like it's difficult to produce a friend, you know.
It's
and
horrifying
they're never
to
really
produce
like
a friend.
it is because it's like gosh, is there someone else that can deliver this news, like, or whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
can
like,
I pass
have to
the buck
tell them.
somehow?
I've said that before.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be the person to be the one to say this. Like, fuck.
God,
How
but
do I
there
say this?
have been so many. I don't think it wasn't Temptation Island. It was a show. You're Cut Off for VH1.
Oh my God. What is your cutoff? Hold on a second.
Your cutoff,
babe. Can you get the roly thing? Just when she ate, she has crumbs, and I just want to get the crumbs. And it should be
Oh,
in there.
thank you.
Just
And
drop.
also, do you have to leave, babe?
Babe, do you have to leave?
Babe,
We're very aware of your schedule.
We are. Should I take my jacket off? Will that make
No, I like it because not that I'm gonna cut. I figured you're adorable. I love it.
Thank you. Am I getting it? You know what else I had? Loose
Just
powder.
kidding.
I told you I did my makeup in the car.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
And it could be that,
Don't
too.
sit in front of the camera so I can keep this clip rolling and it's not your the whole time.
No offense.
You're also in her shot.
I mean, I'm not saying that people wouldn't want to see you.
Be in my shot, not her shot, though.
Look at that all over me.
Are you excited for Kate to cast our reality show one day, honey?
You guys, I'm totally doing it. What is it?
We are. I don't know.
I'll sign an
We
NDA.
have two different things.
Okay. I'll sign an NDA. I have no problem.
We want to do an off-grid
Thank you.
community. So like when I saw the off-grid thing, I was like, oh shit, that's what like I want to do. But I want to follow us building that process.
Oh, yep.
Does that
There's
make
something
sense?
called
Not
the
we
colony that
live
they
on it.
did.
Yes. Oh, the colony was really good. We saw that. So I was like, I want to do that, but I'm like, I don't know. There's like, I have a lot of ideas. We're gonna have to have an off camera conversation
For sure.
because I'm like, oh my god, I have so many ideas and I need.
You need to get him off the
How,
off
like,
the
how
page.
do I?
Yeah.
Right.
How do you
But
format
also
it?
like if. Out of 10 ideas, if you know in your gut, like, no one's going to buy those 7, so focus on these 3, right? Because, again, ADHD, I want to do all of them.
Yes.
But I need you to be like, no.
Yeah, this is not going to work.
These aren't going to
Or
work.
this would
If
be a
you
great
want,
companion
if you want it to
series
sell, it will not. Exactly.
Yeah, and we get. I have an agent, thank goodness, and so we get what's called the mandates. You get those every quarter, and it's just kind of updated what every network,
what we're
every streamer is
looking
looking for, what they don't want, you know, and that's really helpful too when you're developing stuff, you know, especially if it's for a specific network. But usually, like, you know what TLC is, you know what Lifetime is, you know what Bravo is, right? That's shiny, that's upscale, da da da. TLC is kind of trashy loud and oh my god TV, right?
And it was a little bit family oriented, and then I think they flip flopped because they realized the family shit wasn't working for them.
Yeah. Do you remember the Putmans from Michigan, from Caro? They were they had a show called Meet the Putmans.
No.
They're from Michigan, and they are. I should
God,
know
I
the
love
answer
that.
off this,
Oh,
episode,
no.
but like
I can
15,
Google
16
it.
people living in the same house that they
But
built.
they're not all. We had that once. We had 7. That was the
And
max that we
so
had.
it's like, bye.
Bye, I love you.
Thank you.
Where's my
Thanks
other-
for the Diet Coke and
Where's my
everything.
other phone?
It's in your purse.
Okay. Love you.
See ya.
Bye. He has a real job. So we have a media company, and then we have a construction company.
Oh, so he's going to go like do
So
some
he has a
sledgehammering?
huge job in Detroit. So like both of our businesses are leveling up at the same time, which I think is amazing. So
Yeah.
I vlog my day constantly because
Yes.
to me it was like I'm teaching clients all day how to do the thing. So I was like, hey, are you guys okay if I just roll on what we're doing? And then in the edits, I can talk over what's happening too and explain it. Because I was like, why do a separate podcast or like YouTube episode and regurgitate what happened?
How do you know all that stuff? Like, that's where I met you. I went to that thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, what? I'm like, this girl is fucking hysterical. I'm like, I
Oh
need
my
to be
God,
friends.
I'm insane.
But how did you even get into that?
I was in radio. So my background, I worked for The View the first week they were on the air. I was an intern. And you know when you're early in entertainment,
Yeah.
right? So I'm literally the only person sitting there because 15 minutes early is on time.
Yes.
On time is late.
Yes.
So I was like,
Yes.
I was sitting on the couch like this, like, oh my this is happening. I didn't know what The View was. Nobody knew what it was because it was the first
New
week they
York?
were on the air. Yeah.
At
I
ABC?
lived in New York. I went to Fordham University
Yep.
at Lincoln Center.
Yep,
So I would
yep,
just
yep.
literally walk down like the West End Avenue.
Yes.
And
Those were the good old
so-
days. I remember General Hospital used to be there at ABC.
All my
and
children
stuff.
was
Oh,
there in
yeah,
that
yeah,
space, and
yeah.
then there was one other I can't remember. So they would all be like filming at the same time we were doing this fucking.
I
like,
just that still to
show.
this
It
day.
was
I am not
crazy.
like I still get like wowed like when I
Especially
see
with
TV
their
and
sets.
stuff.
First of all,
It's like,
soap operas get done the most. Imagine how much writing and production and breakdown is
Yeah.
involved in one fucking episode,
know
right?
it.
It's like I
Yeah.
don't think people understand.
and copy like for the actors.
Oh
it's
my
like
God, it's
Right?
insane.
I don't
and
know
for them
how they
to
do that.
remember and then like to break down like, okay, we're gonna be here for like
yes,
the
and just like
sets.
hitting your marks and
Yeah,
stuff
if you
like.
fuck up that thing, it's like we already broke that set down. Like, sorry, we're doing it again. We're gonna pay you overtime today. Like,
Yes,
that's
that's
the worst.
hard.
People don't understand how much goes
into that.
and then, like I don't think they
and it
realize
gets
the
like
set.
no respect.
No
but then you
respect.
see though
It's
how many
so
sorry,
much
how many
work.
people's careers start from soap operas though.
Kelly Ripa was in
Yes.
our building every day. I saw her
Yeah.
constantly, all the time, and I was like, and it was just normal. It was just like, oh, there's Kelly. Like,
Yeah.
hi Kelly, hi guys. Like,
Yeah.
it was nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was there early.
It's like celebrities. They
and
really are just like us.
that's how I learned that early
Yeah,
on. I was
yeah.
like, oh, you're just a human being
Yes.
with a job that people put more energy into what it is. But
Yeah.
it's just a job.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a job.
It's weird, fame.
It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people that you think, like the comedians are not funny.
You're
in
like,
private.
that was
Do you know, like, you know that,
yes,
right? Like, you
and
meet
it's like,
me and
that
you're
was
like,
like, I'm like, did that?
no.
Did,
Like, I
don't
met
think
Steve
that-
Martin, and he was the least funny person I've ever met in my life.
Oh, like in real life?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like he's
and I
so
get it
dry.
because he's like, because when I'm on, but I'm not supposed to be on right now. We're backstage in my dressing room before I go on the View. That's
Right.
when I'll be on. But with
Yes.
you, I'm not on.
Yeah, I'm just
Sorry.
gonna be like lame and boring
It's
and
so nice to
not
meet
at
you,
all
thank
interesting.
You. And I think he's the only one that never signed anything. Like he didn't do autographs. I think he has a little business card that he hands out instead.
Are you serious?
Yes, and I don't know if I have that anymore.
I hate to
think
hear
it'd
that
be so
about
funny.
people that I actually like.
I get it though.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Like,
Yeah.
I understand too because I was on the radio here. Well, let me go through the trajectory fast.
Yeah,
Here we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
First day, sitting there, and their assistant was like, "You're gonna go upstairs and work for the co-host. You're gonna intern for the co-host." I was like,
Is that The View?
Yes.
Okay.
And at the time, it was Debbie Matenopoulos, Star Jones,
I
Meredith,
know Debbie.
Vieira, Joy Behar, and Barbara. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Barbara had her own little team at the time, and so I was mainly focusing on them. But like, it was like opening their mail, answering phones,
Right.
and like they would get the most random shit, like voodoo dolls and shit. I was like, oh my fucking god.
Ah!
I was like, this is insane. And then getting their breakfast. So like for my first semester, I was like, okay, this is great, but I didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
So I would like see all the producers running around, and I'd be like, I want to do that though.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't want to do this. Like I don't want to be an assistant. And being an assistant is fucking hard as fuck. I don't think people get that. Star Jones at one point hired me to be her personal assistant too, and it was just like it's
Nonstop.
so much work and it's nonstop. And I don't think people understand.
Like what
that.
kind of stuff were you, like personal stuff, like getting
Yeah,
like, the
for
dry
her it was
cleaning
dry
and all
cleaning.
that?
Oh my god. Okay, so here's a story, and you'll totally
dry
get
cleaning
this. Dry
story.
cleaning. I had her I had to pick up groceries on the way. I had her dry cleaning, and then at the time, and this isn't current, but at the time, Star would like a double cheeseburger. I think no pickles or extra pickles, and like a large fry. And then she would have a beer with it. Like she wouldn't really drink soda at the time. And so I had all of that in my hand, and she was calling me on my cell phone.
Oh.
Right? And back then it was like the little tiny cell phones, you know what I mean? I was like, what the am I supposed
Right.
to do? Like, what do I do? And so I'm trying to figure, I can't throw the dry cleaning on the floor.
I'm so stressed
Do
for
I
you.
want to put her food bag on the dirty New York City floor? No.
Right.
And so I'm like trying to figure out. So I finally, by the time I get like the one thing done and I can reach it, I didn't answer. I missed the call.
I thought you were going to say the beer bottle broke.
No. Never. So she calls back again and is like, when I call you, you answer. And it's like, I was like, I'm so sorry. I had like, literally my hands were full, and it was like, didn't ask you why. Just when I call you. And I get it though.
Yes.
And she was super fucking nice to me. She was amazing. Like the opportunities I got from her were
I didn't
great.
ask you why.
But I didn't ask you why. I just said when I call, right. So like, yes, I understand you're right. I get it. But like, what if I needed something? Like, do you know what I mean? So I understood, but I was like, I was like going to throw everything on the ground. But again, if you're in that moment, she needs something, she doesn't care why.
Yes.
So I get that too. The one thing Barbara said to me too one day was, I finally got to know her just by being in that space. So yes, then I got to intern for the producers, right? I got to do the thing. So as long as I could stay with the co-host too, that was like their thing. It was like, well, give us a day, and then you can also do, because they loved me, because I was amazing. I was just that person that was like yes and
Yeah,
right?
they were like,
yes
where's
and,
Rachel?
like,
Wait, we
right,
want Rachel
yes,
back.
and that was so funny because Barbara got to know there was a girl named Rachel, and I was her, but like sometimes she did like, no, I was her. Does that make sense? Like, where's Rachel? And it's like, I'm right here, because you see so many people every day. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh. And so she told me once, the very first time I went into her, and she was like, she asked me a question, and I said, I don't know. And she goes, you never say I don't know, my dear. You say, I will find out for you, or I will get you that information. But it's never, I don't know. And I was like, yes, ma'am, I will get that for you. And I ran my ass out as quickly as possible. And in that building, at the time they were shooting in like the 320 West 66 West End building, and it was like 4 or 5 floors, right? And so our production was in the basement, and then you had the lobby. Then I believe there was then the studio, and then above that was the control room. So I had to run down because you're not going to wait for the fucking elevator, right? Because like they're loading in an audience, right? There's 2 elevators for hundreds of people getting right. So I was like, I sweat my ass off in that building, running up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs, because it was like, oh my God, I'm all the way here. I got to get all the way here and get this answer, and then I got to go all the way back up and bring it to her. It was crazy. But I was like, that stuck with me because I was like, you never say I don't know.
Never
Just
say I don't
find out for
know,
you.
and never explain, I guess, if you're not at like when
Just don't over-explain.
Don't over-explain.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, tell me the bullet points.
Yes.
What are the what do I need to know? What is pertinent?
If someone's going to be late, I have blah, 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 blah. It's like,
Yep. Nope.
don't need to know that.
Don't need to know.
Yep.
Well,
you
what
know?
time will you actually
That's
be here
right.
so we know? And I can
Exactly.
tell the whole fucking crew because now we have to pay them overtime because you're
Yes.
fucking late.
Yes.
I have a late story
Yes.
too for you.
Oh
my
my
God.
gosh.
How do I find out on here who's casting
Love is
for
Blind?
it? Yeah. Like that's the Metro Times article, but it's not the casting call thing. Is the smell going to bother you? Do you want me to clean it up?
Nothing bothers
Doesn't
me.
matter. Okay.
Nothing bothers me, darling.
I feel like I'm just going to do one long cut. Like I'll cut.
You're going to be in the edit forever for this.
I don't feel like it.
You don't?
Like,
How
I feel
long is
like-
it at the end? Hi.
Are you looking for the date on that? I have it right here.
No, she wants to
I'm
know
finding
who's
out who's casting.
it.
Let me grab my phone because I have
Grab your
that
phone.
app.
Go for it.
BRB, everybody.
Oh, your IMDb. I love your IMDb too.
Ah!
Kate has an IMDb, so does my husband because he
Oh, really?
worked on a movie. He did like. Remember, you were here in Detroit. So for a hot minute, like Detroit was going to be like the new like film center, just like Atlanta is, right? Like we're going to make
When they were
movies
shooting like that
here.
HBO show here and stuff like that.
But they like were training people because the whole goal was to get like local people here to learn how to
There's
do the
some
things
decent
instead of like you
production companies
flying
here,
stuff
though,
in.
aren't there?
There are, yeah, but it was like not as big as it was gonna be, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're all gonna get tax breaks, and so they started training people. And my husband did one of those training programs to be a lighting director.
Oh, that's actually cool that they do that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
but
Was it free?
just didn't. No, you had to pay for it. So it was for some people it was a money grab. For other
Yep.
people, it wasn't. It is what it is. It just didn't blow up as much as they anticipated it was going to. Does that
Right.
make sense? So like,
Yeah.
yeah, do we shape like Transformers here? Yes, tons of stuff happens here, but not as much I think as they anticipated. And they really weren't hiring local. They were still bringing their crews in from LA. So it was just like, and I don't blame them. If I have a business and I have a production company, I have to keep my people happy. Because if I've got a great DP, right, like I'm not gonna wait for them to get another job with another company. I'm gonna have
Right.
them come here to
Yep.
do my.
Yep.
So especially when you have good crew, you hire those crew. And if I have to pay for their travel and pay for a hotel, I will do that. Like, sorry, local people, we're not.
And they
hiring
build
you.
it into the budget. I mean, we've done so much
100%.
on location stuff. Like we've shot everywhere from Florida, Microfront. Yeah, I know a lot of people on this show. I'm just trying to see who the casting person is. But yeah, I mean, we would travel all over, and like we did this one show for CBS a long, long time ago called the Tuesday Night Book Club. I think the whole season didn't even air. I mean, it
Oh
was
my God.
But we were in Phoenix and we had the biggest blast of all. We took over like this whole mid-century modern hotel in Scottsdale.
Okay.
In Scottsdale.
Oh, Arizona
Whole crew
too.
stayed there. It was
that's
a
the
blast. We were
best.
there for like 3 months. It's
Okay,
just a
question in
change.
that vein. How
Yes.
far do we go in production with episodes? Do we go the full like production before we realize this isn't going to work out, or do we cut our losses early?
No, because you have to deliver. So I think that
So you have to deliver
the whole
it
thing
anyway.
was-
So me as the executive can say yay or nay. I still
And
need
I
to see the
think-
full product because I still own the full product, and you never know in the
Yeah,
future. So you
and I think
still
2
have to do
episodes
it.
aired, and they were like, "This is horrible." It's too bad because the
Has
cast was
anything
great. It was
ever
really
been
nice.
shut down mid-production that you're aware of?
I've had
Not
things get
because of
shut down
COVID.
before, like during casting, like big shows, big huge casting stuff that they
So
shut
once
down.
we're in
which
production
sucked.
phase, we're going the full way because we already blocked out the money. And
Yeah,
if anything, it's
you're
just a
already
tax
in
write-off for
it.
failure.
Even if it's like, COVID was really hard because a lot of, as you know, people had to shut down, test, be down for 4 days, whatever all those crazy
It was
rules were.
horrifying.
That changed every 10 seconds also.
It's so bad.
But usually,
Well, that 2-week
by the
wait
time you go
period
into
was like,
production,
ugh.
you're ready to go through it, you know?
Okay, so regardless, even if the producers on set are like, "Oh God, this is a f***ing train wreck in a bad way,"
Yeah.
there's train wrecks in a good way, and then there's train
I
wrecks
think
in a
that
bad
there's a
way.
lot of tweaking that can go on. Like I think
the
that
edits.
like, well, also midstream, like if it's like, oh God, this is not.
Well, then
going
you
how
have
we wanted.
an emergency meeting and saying this is not going the way we wanted. We need to throw a fucking.
or if the host isn't performing, that sucks.
Are there bad hosts? I don't know if I've ever.
Sometimes there are
You don't have
bad
to say who,
hosts.
but, like-
I did a show once
Or you can.
that had a very well-known host, and then like the sidekick host was the expert in the genre of what the show was. We were a little disappointed in the performance there because they were very
Okay.
good in what they were good at, but again, going back to it doesn't mean they're great on TV.
No, but
Mm-hmm.
what's the biggest show that did that? Do you know?
Ever.
American
Idol. Brian. What is he
Poor
doing
Brian
now?
Dunkelman, I don't know.
Brian
It was
Dunkelman.
Brian Dunkelman and Ryan Seacrest. And
Yep.
they immediately were like, "Oh, we know who the star is.
It's so.
Ryan Seacrest."
There's so many credits on this show. I'm just trying to find the
It's
casting
big.
director. But, okay, wait. Showrunner, director, writer, producer. IMDB is what I'm on right now. Oh, Donna Driscoll.
So I love IMDb. I used to be an IMDb Pro member when I was in the business, but I don't need it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of the best resources ever.
It really is.
And the secret to IMDb Pro is they will tell you. So here's my secret as a producer. This is what I would do.
I love secrets.
I love it. And I think it's easy. It's probably so obvious for most people. But say a movie is coming out, and what happens a lot with for TV and radio is there's a publicist for the movie and the production company, and the publicist will book certain shows, right? And so for radio, you're in a group of other radio stations. You each get 4 minutes. They're just back-to-back interviews, right? It's like cattle calling, and it's usually over the phone, or sometimes they'll fly us out, right, to do movie premieres.
Yeah.
And they sit in the room. So if you guys have ever seen this on like Entertainment Tonight or anything, and you'll notice like on Access Hollywood and Entertainment Tonight, it's like the same, they're on the same set, the actors are with like the same poster.
Yep.
But like the interviewers interchanging, right?
Yes.
The person just sits there, and it's like usually 8 to 10 minutes per person. It's like, okay, all right, guys, this is so-and-so from Entertainment Tonight.
Yes.
Sit down, here we go.
So the talent
rolling.
sits there in just different interviews, and they
talent
get
just
asked the
sits there.
same questions.
And
and
over
like,
and over again.
la,
So that's why
la, la.
sometimes if you see them acting goofy and stuff, it's because they've been in a cattle call of
Yes.
promo. And a lot of actors hate doing the promo stuff because of that. But so for radio, they do them back to back. You would get thrown in a group, and they only do it per area. So like if I was the only Detroit radio station to get that interview, the next one would be like Arizona. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't do more Detroit radio stations.
Yes.
They pick one area that fits their niche or who they're marketing the movie to. So a lot of times we wouldn't get picked. Or not a lot of times. Sometimes we wouldn't. For bigger movies, they would be like, no, we want like more family friendly, because the channel I was on wasn't really family. Like we were a little edgy, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, we can talk about that later.
You know, but my boss would be like, no, I want them. You have to make it happen. And so what I would do is go right to the production company, and on IMDb it lists who's the distributor and who's doing all the things. Everything is listed on there. So I would just fucking cold call and say, hey, who's doing promo for this movie? I'd love to talk to them about getting on the schedule, because I know there's a schedule and I know it's this day, and if I can get on before or after, it would be great. And this is why they should be on our show.
And you just
And it
pitch.
would,
And
9
did it
times out
work?
of 10, it would work.
Amazing.
It would
Because
work.
no one
They'd be
usually
like,
thinks
hey,
to do that.
yeah, we'll give you 4 minutes before.
That's a good tip too, by the way, for shows that you want, that you have in your brain, that you want to develop. What's similar to it or whatever, find out who the production companies are that do those shows.
And then pitch to those production companies. Why did I not fucking think of that? That's brilliant. I love you.
Because
Oh my
they're already
God.
in that, they already own that space, right? They are familiar with that way of producing. So,
my
and
God,
it's really
yes.
smart to, like I do a lot of co-pros, I'll partner up with a production company, that has more resources, or more, has other connections that I don't have or whatever,
Yes.
and I love doing that. And then, you just work out your deal with you and your co-pro, whether it's 50-50 or whatever. And then everybody works together, and it's easier, I think, that way when you're really developing a format and actual pitching the whole
Right.
show, not just talent, because it's different. Because, talent is, maybe it's easy to me because that's what I do, is the talent part. I never thought of that. But
Probably,
but there's more involved to pitching, a whole show and getting your idea heard,
Correct.
because a
Because
lot
it
of
has to
networks
be an
have
idea they
portals,
want.
right? You can upload,
Right.
upload your idea to whatever, Discovery, and you don't own it, and da-da-da, so send us your idea, and we'll let you know if we're interested, type of thing, A lot of people do that. I would be interested to know the percentage of what shows get made.
You know why that scares me?
and
Why does that scare me?
Because someone's going to steal your idea.
Yes.
I mean, give me a break. Yep, totally.
And they will, because it's
And the other thing is,
it's
too-
because we have idea meetings. You know this. It's like, hey, everybody, we're doing a pitch meeting today. Come, and you're like, oh, I got too drunk this weekend, and I didn't prep for the 2 weeks that I'm supposed to do this, and now I have to throw out ideas. What the do we have quickly and go?
Yeah.
And it happens. It's real.
Yeah,
It's
and it's
just
the
exactly
worst.
what happens. It's horrifying.
Yes, so
and it's
it's-
like, okay, prove I stole it.
And it's IP. You can't own IP, right? I mean, and also I always feel like whatever idea I have or whatever, someone's had it before, so who's going to get there
100%.
sooner
Who's
and
gonna get there
better,
first?
Yes. And a lot of times the make or break can be the talent. What talent do you have attached, or what talent do you have involved? Do you have a cast in place, Because if you don't have a good cast, you don't have a show,
100%.
So casting has
we
become
did all
really
this, we have the shell,
We have
but
this
it's
great
like
idea.
we don't have that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do this.
Exactly.
I say that all the time to clients too. Like, hey, if you're self-taping, that's totally fine. But if you're lighting is I can't hear you because you're not mic'd or you're too far away from the camera, right? Because these fucking phone mics are only good right fucking here.
Yeah.
Don't put it over
So
there.
funny.
Stop doing that. Get a fucking vlogger mic.
Yeah.
Right? There's too much background noise or it's too distracting.
Yeah.
And everything you just said went in one ear. It was pointless.
Yeah. Yep.
It was pointless. Take 10 minutes to just create the space that you're comfortable in so we can fucking hear you and see you.
Yep.
Makes me insane.
I will be like, I've done that. Like when we have shows where there's like so many submissions. I mean, I sometimes just like boom, boom, boom. Wait, what? It was something, you know what I mean? Yeah, but you know,
it's like Tinder for casting directors.
Yeah, so like way back there, and I can't hear anything. I'm like, sorry, do better next time. Like you know, you don't have time to like zoom in and like unless there's something that like, you know.
Well, and I saw that. So when I took my daughter to LA, the job is auditioning. You know that. The job isn't the job. That's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain to her, your job is auditioning. This is the thing you have to love, and you have to love it so much because you're going to do it all the time.
Yeah.
To get you on set,
and you're only got a commercial. It's only going to work 2% of the time or whatever.
Exactly. We finally got like an outdoorsy commercial,
but
which was great.
So she got an agent and a commercial. I mean, by the way, that's huge.
We got the agent offer. So the sit down was, we were there for 3 months. She only got one commercial. So for her, she wasn't on set enough, right? It wasn't exciting enough.
Yeah.
And my husband was still here with my son. He was not in LA. And so she started missing home, and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't going to happen. Because the external factors do have to work, right?
Yeah.
She has to be comfortable enough to want to be there, and I wasn't going to force her because I knew if I forced her, every day was going to be a challenge getting to an audition.
I know. I wish my kid were like a performer. I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're in. Like, let's get you out there. It's like she couldn't.
You have to meet my daughter. You have to fucking meet my daughter.
I would love to meet her. Yeah, my daughter would like be all crazy, whatever. The minute the camera's on, she's just like.
No, my daughter's the opposite. She does things. She loves comedy.
Yeah.
Which like comedy and improv for kids isn't a thing.
Right.
It's like it's just they do like musicals, but like so that's been hard here. And then she'll do things because she's very meta.
Yeah.
She just wants to make you laugh.
Yes. Oh, that's
and
awesome.
so when I was younger, I would like pull out the camera, and now sometimes I have to ask like, "Hey, can I film this?" And she's like, "No, I'm just doing." She'll come out with like a mustache and like dress like an old man, and I'll be like, "Why are you doing this? Like, what is this? Like, are you self-taping? Like, are we doing TikToks? What's happening?" And she'll be like, "No, it's literally just to make me laugh."
Yeah.
And it's like, holy. So like. After she gets her joke out and makes me laugh, I'll say, "Hey, can I tape that again, or can you do that again? Are you comfortable?"
Yeah.
And sometimes she'll be like, "No, like the moment was the moment, and it wasn't for them."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I fucking love you so much, but like you're so talented and nobody knows it. Love this agent. I can't remember her name, but she sat with us and she said, "It is a job. If you sign this contract in LA," and she's like, "I have Disney, I have Nickelodeon, like these are my clients. So if I send you on a job, you need to get up and you need to be like, you need to be there, right?" She didn't curse, but like, she was real.
Like this is like, yeah, we don't have
she
time
wasn't like,
for,
"Oh,
if you aren't in it,
everything's fine." Like, no, if you're not in it 100%, then don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't put your mother through this. Like, don't do this. Don't put me through this because I'm gonna
because
literally.
it's you too. It's you too. It's your time. It's
huge.
your yes.
Well, that's why I was like, oh my god, how do I not be a momager? But I'm like so like invested in the industry.
Yes.
It's like I know all the things. I'm like, I can't not do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, and people online would be like, "Oh, you're just trying to live out this dream for you." I was like, you have no idea how fucking hard this is. This is not my fucking dream. Like doing auditions every day and self tapes up the fucking and trying to get her to do school too. I know.
Yeah.
So we sat and I said, "Just tell me the real answer. You're not going to disappoint me." Because you know, kids want to give you the answer they think you want. And I said, "I will be fine. I will pack our stuff right now and we can go home.
Yeah.
It's okay."
Yeah.
And she said, "Mommy, I just want to go home." And I was like, okay. And she was so adorable at the time. And like, she totally gets comedy. And I was just like, it was hard for me as a parent. I'm going to fucking cry.
That's okay. I almost cried for you just now.
It was hard for me as a parent because when you see someone with so much talent that literally genuinely wants to entertain people and make them laugh, it was like, I don't want that to be bottled up. And I don't want her on TikTok. I don't want her doing those things. So she's allowed to have a TikTok to watch. She'll tell you TikTok raised her. It's a joke because I'm always so busy. So I'm just like, yes, watch TikTok, watch YouTube. Just don't comment. Don't like you know what I mean? Like, So she has it for that, but I don't allow her to post. And it's like, if in a controlled environment, we can make you not huge, because that's not why, and it's not for the money. It's for the act of creating. Like you create every day in your room privately by yourself.
Yeah.
And you can make so many people laugh and happy and relate to you And it's like, a kid doesn't understand that. I think she gets it a little more now that she is locked up in her room, right? Like, she does musicals and stuff, but she doesn't identify with musicals. She doesn't want to be a singer and an actress in that way. She loves comedy. And it's like, I was like, if you want to be in that space, we have to be here, like in LA or New York, mostly LA, I think, for that stuff. And it's just like, if I take you out of that, and we could have helped you. I mean, I had private coaches. I had all the things, right? Because as a parent, you're like,
such a good mom.
I want you to do the thing, and I want you to do it to the best of your ability. I just want to share her with the world. And it's like, I don't want you to be the little kid in front of the mirror that like didn't do the thing. And like, I'm not the parent that's going to stop you from doing the thing, and I want you to do it in your own time. Yeah. But I also understand, like, kids have a cute factor for a period of time, and that's real, right? So if we are casting for Disney and Nickelodeon, I've watched some of those shows. She's binge-watched them, and I'm like, binge-watched some of them, and I'm like, you're 10 times better than this person that you cast. Like, no offense to that person, but you are 1,000, like, do you see that? And she would even say, like, I could have done that. And it's like, yeah. But I didn't want to force her, right? Like, and it's to live out there and like have a house here and live out there, like, I was like, we financially couldn't do it. No, because I have to schlep you every day. It's constant. And those auditions are back to back.
It becomes your life.
When you were in publicity, were you on the client end of like businesses trying to get more publicity, or were you on the entertainment end of trying to promote these movies?
The entertainment end. It was for like Jay-Z was one of our clients. I'll never forget that. It was
what
so
project
cool.
was it? Can you say
his first album? Yeah.
Oh
totally.
My God, that's amazing.
But we was there for the photo shoot for his very first album. It was wild. I mean, no one really knew he.
Right. Yeah. Because I can imagine.
Jigga, I think, was the big song at the time. But it was awesome. Like, just the wardrobe and the catering and da-da-da. And I'm there like the little publicist, like, hi, little white girl publicist.
Hey guys, what you need.
Yeah. And then we did his 4th of July party in the Hamptons, which was super. I mean, I did everything from get like the little flags that were going to go in the cupcakes to,
That's
blah, 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 blah.
Mrs. Event planning.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
It was fun.
Like, what do you want to happen? Because I can make it happen. Give me a budget. Let's go.
Do you know what? I think I was so ignorant, too. I didn't even realize
that people didn't have that much big of a budget for sure.
Like who I was dealing with, and like how cool when you're in a world. I think it's hard to see from the outside. Like, it was pretty cool doing his party in the Hamptons, and the people that. But it was just, to me, it was.
You're like, these cupcakes that are fucking show up on time.
Yeah. And then Britney Spears was our client, and I think.
What year though? Because that changes everything.
Yeah, it does. It was early on. It was when she, like Justin Timberlake years, So it was on that end. So it's more about publicity stuff and not selling and stuff so much as we represented clients.
Well, I don't want to say it's easier because fucking publicity is a whole other conversation that we can
Oh my
do.
gosh,
We'll
and talk about learning to keep your mouth shut or not. It's hard for people like me.
That, and it's like, okay, now I have to spin it.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you so much for fucking my life over.
It's like you can say all this and they're going to pull out that.
Yep.
And that's what's going together.
Well, and as a producer, having like being on set with like literally publicists standing there with you, and you're like, oh fuck, I would always look at the publicists like, are we happy or are we not happy? Like, are we doing good or are we not doing good? Like, or did we totally get something out of them? I remember really quickly, I produced Beyonce, okay? And this was solo artist. She was 2 hours late, so we had to keep the audience late and get them lunch.
For The View?
For The View.
Oh, okay.
And then we also had to keep the crew late, which fucking overtime for a crew is like, well, there goes our fucking March budget.
Yep.
And so she showed up, but it's Beyonce, so you're gonna do whatever you need to do.
Yes.
So she showed up late, which sucked, and then I would talk to her, getting ready in her dressing room, through the mirror and through her fucking publicist. It was hilarious. So I'd ask her a question, and then the publicist would answer, and I'd be like, okay, so what about this? And I asked about...
That's so weird!
She's married to Jay-Z, right? Okay, so I asked about him, because they were dating at the time.
Yeah.
And she wasn't telling anybody about it. It was just like the we're friends thing. And I was like, and I'm literally shaking, because I know the question's on the cards. Like, we're gonna ask it anyway.
Did they know the questions before?
No.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, we don't show the questions because we know she's not going to answer. I was just like literally I'm shaking. And I was just like, so we're going to ask about, because you just sort of generically go over what we're going to do. And the publicist was just like, no. And I was like, fuck, but we're going to do it anyway.
So did you ask it?
So Star Jones at the time, I think, was friendly with both of them and knew of the relationship. So she sort of tiptoed into the question. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
I don't think Beyonce said, yeah, we're dating. It was just like, oh, we're friends. Like that, like short answer. So like, it's just
nuts.
It's so funny, like how all the things that everybody does, and I don't think anybody knows how much work goes into all of this behind the scenes. It's
Oh
so
my
fucking
gosh.
nuts.
I mean, it's not all of a sudden you snap your fingers and there's a TV show. It's like a lot.
It's a lot.
You know, and going back to some of the other stuff, like it's heartbreaking when you have a cast member and then they fall out, like literally, and then you just can't pull them back in. I'm really pretty good at talking people through, you know, and
solve
like,
the problem.
and yeah, and just making them feel better about it. And like, I'm, you know, not tricking anybody, you know, explaining stuff, you know, if there's stuff in the contract, you don't like redline it for me, let me see what I can do. You know, I'm good like that. But that's heartbreaking when someone just, it's like, oh, it's like the world's going to end.
And then you also know when a production ends, that is like devastating. You don't like. I don't think people understand. Like
it's like a birth. It's
you
like,
are
it's
in
like
this little microcosm.
Yes, that's part of crying in the shower.
And then it's done, and you're like, okay, bye.
It was not only was it hard. It was like you were so. It was all such a great crew. Like we had become totally family. You know, through the everything, the good and the bad and the whatever. Had a blast, but it's like, and you can't escape that.
Correct.
Until you can escape it.
Right, until you're done, and then until you have your plane ticket fucking home.
That's right.
And then you're like,
you know?
oh shit, bye.
Yeah.
Like, are we ever
and
gonna
there's
see each other
so
again?
much pre-planning, there's so much pre-production, there's so many, this is how it's going to look, and then it doesn't look anything like that, and oh my God, how do you save the day? You know, or just our cast members falling out, and just, you know, because I did go on into the field and produce some of the shows I cast. You might have asked me that earlier.
I don't know.
It just depends. But so it's a lot of heavy lifting, you know?
Well, that, and then, and this is with everything in entertainment, you're only as good as the last thing you did. So at the end of it, everyone's high-fiving, like pat each other on the back, and then it's like, that's great, what's next? And you're like, fuck, I can't even be on this high at all, because you're just like, it doesn't last a long time. My husband gets mad at me because every time I would do something or an event or something, he'd be like, that was amazing. He's like, why are you so like upset? I'm like, because
I gotta do it
number one, it's
again.
over, and now I got to do it again and do it better. Like, what's the next biggest thing I can do? And so it's so fucking hard because you're on this like hamster wheel sometimes where it's like, I can't even, besides award shows and being recognized for stuff, and even then, like you come home with the Oscar and you're just like, okay,
Oh, who
now
remembers
what?
who won anything last year?
Now
Nobody.
what?
Right?
Right?
Who
It's
remembers who won
still-
American Idol? Even like, you know, it's like, yeah.
So you need a publicist to be the promotion machine, and you have to have the funnel. Like, so all those things that we talk, like, it's all relevant. I can fucking talk to you for hours. What didn't I ask you really quickly that we can end on that you feel like I just want to get out, or do you want to just keep it like?
I think there's nothing like it's like burning to come out. I just love talking to you because we went all over.
my God,
it's like
we
we can
can-
talk a
there's so many
salad.
things.
I know we
Oh
could
my
just
God,
do a
there's so
whole
many more
series on
fucking
this. But you know, I don't know. There's nothing.
Are you casting for anything right now that people? Should
Nope,
go to
I'm
your
doing
website?
development stuff right now. But
Okay.
when I do, because we have, I have to update that. All the stuff that I'm casting, like to reach me, the best way to
Yes.
reach me.
Yeah.
So my website is also very long, but it's macworldwideinc.com.
Okay.
So it's
Yes.
macworldwideinc.com.
Okay.
That's the best way to reach me.
Okay.
Phone numbers up there, the email, and Insta and all that stuff. But I respond to. I hate to say this, but I'll say it. But phone calls, texts,
I was like,
and
don't say it,
email.
don't say
I know. It's
it.
like if you don't want to say it, don't say it. Now that's gonna be my lead. I respond to phone calls.
Right. But
and
do
texts.
you charge people for consulting
No.
too? Like, is that something
Listen,
that you
I
would want to
am,
do?
like-
Change that answer.
Yeah.
Yes. She's a consultant as well. So if you're applying for a reality show and you want some advice,
I charge.
she charges for that.
I'm totally available for like consultation.
That's
People
the
have
thing.
ideas.
I'm telling
yes.
you, I paid an actress to help consult me on how to apply on, was it LA Casting? Like, there's 3 websites.
Oh,
that are the
yeah,
big
yeah.
ones.
Uh-huh,
It's not, Backstage isn't the biggest one. There's 2 others.
Yeah,
I
there
can't remember
are.
they
Of like how to be. I should be doing.
How
I
to
should doing
present-
things like how to get on a
yes.
reality show.
Oh, shit, we have
How to
that for
do.
YouTube.
How to answer the questions on a reality show application. What not to
God.
say. What turns
We
us
have
on.
Kate's brand that we're gonna grow.
Yeah, we're gonna
my
grow
God, I
this.
love that.
Yes.
All right,
and yours.
so-
We have a lot to do. Do you have
actually
an
have
out
to
though?
do-
Did we give you an out to get out of
No.
this thing?
So how can people find you, Kate?
So people that want to reach me, to get information about how to apply for shows, to hire me for jobs and stuff. Now that I'm here local to Michigan, go to my website. It's macworldwideinc.com. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I'm super duper interactive and really always open for great ideas for shows. Finding super cool, unique worlds that are out there. My mind's always open, and casting great people is what I do. And that's what I love. So if you're one of those people, give me a holler.
And we need like parts 2, 3, and 4 for this. But
Yes, we do.
this is it for today. On
Yes.
camera, there'll be so much more we're about to talk about.
And see.
And scene.